Good evening, everyone. Yeah, yeah. Thank you very much, Rajivji. And good evening, everyone. I think most of them have been participating in this session of Startup Ecosystem Bharat, which we were discussing for the last 4 weeks. And we are
Right.
almost on the last episode of this Startup Ecosystem Bharat, which we are discussing. And in this, we have discussed about what is a startup, how it, what is an idea, who are the target audience, how does the business happen, and all that, right? So, in that, actually, who is an accelerator, who is an incubator, how accelerator works, how incubation center works, all these things we have discussed. And finally, the last week we discussed about how this Startup India initiative by the government of India is started and what are the facilities provided by the government of India. When I say what is the facilities provided by the government of India, government of India has not only funding as one of the initiative. Before to it, they started something called Atal Incubation Centers, which are grown at
Hello, how are you?
uh, good. So, which are set up at most of the engineering or management colleges, that is one area, and two at some of the centers at FICCI, like Chamber of Commerce, right? In those centers also, some at some places, the incubations are set up by the local in association with the local government. This is what we have discussed all of it till date. So coming for today's topic, uh, investors invest in private investment, how it works, and where the private investors get the fund from, or how are they investing?
Hello,
What are
how
the
are you? I am under the water.
Rajivji? What is this? Continue. Yeah, yeah. I am under the water. There's something. Somebody. Yeah, yeah. So when we talk about all these things, there are specific terms in regards to startup ecosystem funding. Uh, the majorly there are three types of investment which come through three different sects of people. One is angel investors. Two is called a private equity. Private equity is not only specific to startup ecosystem. This was existing in the regular equity market also in the stock market area, but that was for unlisted companies. Private equity used to be there, and it is still continuing the same way. And finally, last but not the least, is the venture capital funds. Venture capital funds, we will get into each topic separately. We will try to understand what is the role of each person, how do they play their role, what is that they bring to the table, what are the advantages of taking the funds from them, and what are the disadvantages when we take funds from them. We will talk all about this in the next coming few minutes. Ajay ji, you want to explain this in Hindi? Yeah, sure. Private equity and venture capital funds. We'll get into the details right now, Rajuji. But at a high level, what is private equity and what is venture capital fund and all that. I'm going to get in and get down deep dive and give more information on that. See, here when I talk about angel investors, these are nobody else like you and I who can fund investment from our own savings, which we have, if we have any, which is again a taxable income, and you should have filed your income tax returns in the last 3 years, showing that you have a substantial income. Like at least there is something, some limit, like you should you should have filed your returns at least with the 15 lakhs gross income as your gross income in the last 3 ITRs. That's where then only you can invest in you can invest as an angel investor, because the fund which you're showing should be through your uh, income sources what you have generated shown to the government. That's where. And there is for early stage startups, when you're funding, there is a benefit also given by the government of India. There's tax rebates and all that are there. We will not go so deep into it. Once, if somebody is interested, they can contact me and I can give you more details. But I will tell you at a very high level who are these angel investors. They are one, as I told, they are high net worth individuals who can bring in their own funds and provide equity to the early stage startups. When I say early stage startups, startups who have just born with their idea and they created a product and a service, and once they are ready with the product or the service, which is called the proof of concept in our old days, today they are, that same thing is known as minimum viable product. Means when we call it a minimum viable product is only when it got validated in the market. Means when you try to create a product or a service, that you, it is not only your idea, it is based on the need of the customers, because of which I already told, any idea when you're coming out with needs to have a proper market research done. If that is properly done, then only the market validation at this stage happens, and then it converts into a MVP, which is a validated product. That's when you take it to an investor, any investors, they would look at the MVP and say, yes, this has some validation from the market. So, yes, definitely, I would be ready to invest. But you being at a premature stage still, with not much of revenue traction, I would be investing in you. But only thing is, I would be giving you a small amount. But because the risk reward ratio is high, I would be taking more equity at this stage. If you are ready for that, I would be funding, is what the angel investor says. So that's where the gist of what I have wrote there is what the content is. Basically, when I say angel investor comes at a very early stage with lot of risk involved. The angel investor doesn't know whether the product will take off or not, but he is still ready to invest. That is the reason, even though at an early stage he is hardly giving 25